Quantum, Quantum Jumping 2, CD1, the four levels of quantum jumping. This is Bert Goldman speaking. I will be with you for this entire series. Module 1, the little known secret of quantum energy. I was lecturing before a group of people in New York. Everything is energy, I said, in one form or another. We were at the Gramercy Park Hotel ballroom. Someone had just asked about the fact that you couldn't see energy. But you can, I said. Everyone has a field of energy that surrounds them. That energy is called different things by different people in different cultures, but here in the United States, we simply call it the energy field. You may also have heard of it referred to as an aura or an auric field. Saying that, I proceeded to show people how to see an aura, and I put mine on display. Here's how I did it. I like to demonstrate this energy that surrounds each person. First of all, I stand in front of a bare wall, and I have all the students stare at the center of my forehead, while at the same time they should be aware of the outline of my head and shoulder area. So they're looking in the center of my forehead. Some of them look at the tip of my nose. Doesn't really matter. But what does matter is they should be aware of the outline of my head and shoulder area, because at first viewing, the aura is best seen from your peripheral sight. While they're staring, I kind of squeeze very slightly on the physical level, but quite strong mentally. I imagine a fog-like light oozing out of my body from my stomach area to the top of my head. My eyes are closed when I'm doing this, and I hold the squeeze until I hear something. What I usually hear is, "Oh my God, I see it," said one person. "I see it," and then "I see it" rings out from all over the room. "It's like a shimmering of a highway on a hot day," says one person. And pretty soon they all see it. My aura. Just about that time, energy, that unseen force, becomes a real thing, a real object. "Wow," comes from the throats of the participants there. "But what use is it?" asks one of the participants. "Let me show you one use," I say. Now, energy is everything. Not just the energy that causes you to get out of bed in the morning, or the energy that enables you to run a mile or work all day, but energy is the thing that causes cohesiveness and interconnection, keeping the cells of your body active. It's the thing that enables your mind to come up with creative ideas. And it's the thing that draws one person to another, or that draws things, people, and events to you. Energy is what determines the law of attraction. Energy is what creates your world. But it was time for me to demonstrate energy a bit further. And pretty soon I would show them how to use energy to heal, to create, to attract success. But first, I want to show how real this energy is, and that anyone could create and manipulate it. I walked over to a young man in the front row and I whispered in his ear, "Imagine a wall somewhere in this room, a mental wall that you create going from ceiling to floor and wall to wall. Just think about it, but you do create it." I asked him if he understood, and he nodded. Now, while he's mentally building the wall, I took a wire coat hanger out of my briefcase, and with a pair of cutting pliers, I made 2 cuts so that now the coat hanger was in the shape of an L. I then told the group that the young man had created a wall of energy somewhere in the room and I would find it. Holding the coat hanger, there was now a dowsing rod in front of me, small end loose in my hand, long end straight forward. I slowly walked from one end of the room to the other. About 3/4 of the way, the wire suddenly moved abruptly to the right. I looked at the young man and I said, "The wall is right here." He smiled, and then he laughed, and he shook his head. "That's right," he said. I can't believe it. I mentally put a wall right there on that exact spot. And then just about everyone in the group was asking the same question. How did I do it? Well, I wanted to give them a little background first so they could see that energy can be put to good use. I told them that everything was energy and that as everything is energy, it's all connected. At the quanta level, the very smallest of the smallest of levels, there is an intercommunication that takes place among all the levels of fundamental particles of matter consisting of neutrons and protons. But aside from that, what you might think of as gobbledygook that few people understand, let me say this. Let me put it a different way. If a person can build a mental wall that can be detected, then it is to some extent real. Now, building a wall with your mind might not be the most important item on your list of things to do today, but consider this. If you can build a wall with your mind, what else can you use that energy for? My friend Uri Geller taught me that particular technique. He uses that same energy to sprout seeds in his hand. He causes broken clocks and watches to work, and he bends spoons with his mind. He uses that same energy to do all that and more. I know that for a fact because Uri and I used to do seminars together. During one of those seminars, SONA, an acronym for Secrets of the New Age, Uri demonstrated using the quantum energies to sprout seeds in his hand and read people's thoughts, while I used it to heal all those who applied. We were a great team, but Uri changed direction and began to douse psychically for oil in Mexico, parts of the Middle East, and parts of the U.S. He found many sites for oil companies in the 80s and 90s and grew quite wealthy using these quantum energies. But what can you use it for? Well, when we utilize the energy of infinity that I call a quantum energy, you discover that the universe is one big hologram. Now, why do I say that? And what is that? You've heard that word before, I know. And you probably think that a hologram is like a three-dimensional photograph. Well, my friend, it's much more than that. Let me explain. Say that on a piece of celluloid, you had your hologram. And the hologram was a picture of Napoleon, a three-dimensional hologram. All holograms are three-dimensional. Because it is a hologram, the entire picture of Napoleon is impressed on every molecule of the celluloid. So if you were to trim off 1 inch of the end of the celluloid, the entire picture would be there. If you were to trim off 1/10 of an inch, the same picture would be there. Or if you were to have a 3 foot by 3 foot, which would be the original size, let us say, the entire picture would be there. At the quantum level, everything exists simultaneously because the hologram's particles are in communication with each other. There's no time on the quantum energy base level. This you prove mentally every time you think of a past thing or a future occurrence. The universe and all things it contains is just one vast hologram with all the information everywhere. But we don't call it a hologram except to explain it in terms that are easily understood. And so we call this vast hologram quantum energy. When you put that together with quantum jumping, you get a resource of such value that you'll be utilizing its benefits all of your life. We accumulate a great base of knowledge over the years. Some of it is acted on, while the rest is simply stored away somewhere in the recesses of the brain. This stored and buried material affects your everyday life, but as it is masked by overlapping data, it isn't noticed. And because it's not observed, it can't be acted upon. Most personal development organizations call this buried material past programming. Past programming or past programs are simply things that have happened or not happened in your past that have an effect on your attitude and your actions in the present. In the quantum world, these past programs are called source foundations. These foundations of future happenings are stored quantum energies. In the quantum world, each time a decision is made, each time a choice presents itself to you, there is a branching off of realities. You might say that a new energy is added to the hologram. Each time there is a decision to be made, a road opens in front of you that branches off in different directions. The branch of the road that you didn't take is also valid, as when the choice is made, another is set in place on the road you didn't take as well. Each branch, and there are many, create a new energy source. Maybe a little difficult to comprehend, but pretty much accepted as standard theory of many eminent quantum physicists today. With quantum jumping, we design each jump to get to one of those branches or sources of energy where you are successful in the thing that you're looking to enhance, in the endeavor that you're looking to enhance. When you consider the branches that you make every day and extend that to a week and a month, you can see that by the end of the year, your choices are practically infinite. With this module, we'll examine the branching concept, and by applying it to source foundations, you will discover all you need to know about past programming and how to correct it. Let me refresh your memory as to what a source foundation is, as the material that follows uses the source foundation premise as a basis for overcoming problems. In Quantum Jumping 1, you learned that a source foundation was an insignificant event that causes a significant effect. The example was that of a person, let's call him Harry, who's going to a New Year's party. The host wants Harry to contribute $20 towards the food and drinks. Harry is insulted as he feels if he's invited to a party, he shouldn't have to pay for it, and so he leaves. He goes to another New Year's Eve party, and while there meets Ethel, who ultimately becomes his wife. They have 3 children. One of them studies law, becomes a renowned attorney, and ultimately becomes the governor of the state. All those effects, the meeting of Harry and Ethel, their marriage, the 3 children, the governor, all are branches of the road that came into being because of a single source foundation, the $20 bill that Harry was asked to pay for that New Year's party. Had he paid it and gone to the first party, none of the other effects would have happened. But all were possibilities. That $20 created a quantum energy. Recall that quanta is the very smallest of particles. The $20 bill is an important factor in the life of Harry as it affects his future in every way. And even though it is a tiny energy source, it has significant consequences. In a quantum world, those effects, and many more, would and did take place. All those branches exist in a multi-dimensional holographic universe. In one of the branches, Harry went to the first party. In another, he went to the other party. Going further, at the second party, he didn't meet Ethel, he met Maria. In another branch, he went home without going to any party, and on ad infinitum. Each decision he made led to a parallel universe, one of the infinity of universes where anything could be imagined, anything that could be imagined taking place did take place. I realize that some of these ideas boggle the imagination. But just listen to this. The year, let us say, is 1960. Democrat Ronald Reagan, was a somewhat mediocre actor featured in B movies, and Ronald Reagan was also on TV. If you were to say that one of his decisions would lead to the presidency of the United States as a Republican, you would have been thought of as crazy. And yet it was there. We all have somewhat bizarre branches of the road. The first step in controlling them is the knowledge that they exist at all. I don't know what Ronald Reagan's Source Foundation was or what the first decision that brought him on the path to the presidency was, but I would bet it was something as insignificant as him being late for dinner somewhere one day. Source foundations are the things that hold you back in life, that create poverty, poor relationships, self-sabotage, illness, stress, overweight conditions, addictive personalities, fears, early demise, and virtually all the negative conditions of life. Source foundations are also the things that create wealth, good relationships, success in all things, good health, a relaxed attitude, confidence, self-esteem, youth preservation, and all the positive conditions of life. Once a source foundation is set, it creates a quantum energy that influences attitudes and behavior. If you could identify a source foundation, you could change its outcome. If you knew how to set a source foundation, you could change your life. You would have control over your life, and you'd be able to move in the direction that you choose, not the directionless way of the unknown. Every branch of the road, every decision that you make leads to a different you, a doppelganger, a self in an infinity of selves, in an infinity of occupations, with an infinity of personalities. But before I get into that, let me speak of the many yous there are right now, right here, in this universe, in this dimension. Within each one of us are many people, many different selves. We live in a world with many mansions, but most have not the slightest clue as to where they are or how to find them. You've probably noted yourself that at times you're happy, and there are times when you're sad. Sometimes you're serious, sometimes you're playful. I'm sure there have been times in your life when you were adventurous, just as there were times in your life when you were an old stick in the mud and were quite happy with the status quo. Sometimes it's chemical. You see a beautiful or handsome member of the opposite sex, and suddenly endorphins start firing off, and you feel as though spring has sprung. Other times it's an attitude or something that you see or hear or smell that reminds you of a long ago scene, and a good or a bad feeling suddenly comes over you. Point being, it's sometimes difficult to find the real you, that hidden deep within you guy or gal who you really want to be, the real you. Where is that person? How can I find him or her? Well, my friend, you'll discover that you, the real you that is, during this series of deepening quantum jumps. You'll get to know the real you. And you know something? That person is a champion in every way. That person looks to hit the ball out of the park with every swing. That's the person you'll find by the time we come to the last module of Quantum Jumping 2. During this continuation of the Quantum Jumping series, we'll be going deeper into the premise with mental conditioning exercises designed to not only take you on a trip to a parallel universe, but to jump into a self that will help you get through the day with energy, vigor, creativity, and a passion for the things you do. You'll start your day with a morning quantum jump to get those quantum energies flowing, to get the day started with a bang. And then, after you've gone through the day and made the thoughtful choices with the help of your wisdom jump into a parallel wherein dwells the wisest you of them all, you'll go for the evening jump to clean up all the mistakes, if any, of the day. Those things you said you wish you hadn't said, and those things you did you wish that you hadn't done. During the modules, as you listen and act on the information, you'll discover not only the real you, but you may well discover the you who suddenly discovers his or her life's purpose. Yes, you do have one. A life purpose that is, but you may not know it yet. Discover your life's purpose, and you may well prove to be a person you knew was deep within you, always trying to get out, and finally, you letting that person out. Discovering your life's purpose may well prove to be the highlight of your year. The target jump will get you to a place where the greatest goals and objectives of them all reside. Your target doppelganger self will help you to decide on not only the goals in your life, but the controls as well. In Module 3, the one after the meditation that follows this module, you'll learn about out-of-body experiences and how to use this resource to learn many things about yourself and others. And after that, you'll meet your past self and your future self. Get ready for major surprises with that module. We call that the self-reflection jump. You'll find that you can look back on your life thus far, and the glimpse that you will get will be an astounding resource in your life forevermore. The healing jump is one that everyone will find useful at one time or another in their lives, different from any other, and yet similar to many, because for this one, we go back to the person who really began the New Age philosophy. The man who coined the phrase, better and better, and who healed many thousands of people during his sojourn on earth. The man's name, Emile Coué. But Coué lived and practiced in the late 19th and early 20th century. Are his methods, you might ask, still applicable to our modern world? Well, you be the judge, especially as we have updated and utilized much new material in the healing jump, even to using this powerful resource to help others. And then there's a reverse jump. In our infinite universe, there is a you, a doppelganger self, who wants to talk to you. You're the doppelganger in the reverse jump, and so during that jump, get ready to help your counterpart. You have information, and you have energies that your counterpart doesn't have, and you get lots of benefits after helping your twin self. The Midas jump will be quite interesting if you are still looking for that sometimes elusive money consciousness. Only one person can turn you into a money magnet, and that person is you yourself. You may have heard that if you give a person with a poverty consciousness $1 million, a year later that person won't have any of it left. Whereas if you take $1 million away from a person with prosperity consciousness, a year later they'll have it all back. Well, you know something? That's right. That's so. But what exactly is a poverty consciousness? Your Midas doppelganger knows. For him or her, making money is like taking candy from a baby. The Midas jump is designed for you to attract affluence and money instead of scarcity and hardship. It takes a bit of work on your part, but how hard did you work to get to where you are? The Midas quantum energy source is what creates that prosperity consciousness. Quite possibly the one thing that affects everyone at one time or another, both on the physical and mental levels, are the cells that make up each individual. We see each cell on the quanta level as a tiny generating plant that charges and stimulates every organ of the body. With the cellular jump, this is taken into consideration. Our goal is that of recharging the cell for youthful exuberance and good health. If all that seems too ambitious, just buckle up and get ready, because starting with the next module, you're going on the ride of your life, and may you never be the same again. A positive ride. In the next modules, you'll learn our 4 levels of meditation. So find yourself a comfortable place where you'll be undisturbed for, 10 minutes or so. Relax and allow yourself to get to that comfortable jumping off place that we call quantum meditation. You won't be jumping into a parallel yet. Just getting your mind relaxed, your immune system strengthened, and you'll be letting all that stress in your life disappear. So just concentrate on my words and occasionally the light musical background. Before each of the meditation levels, I will explain the exact method that we will be using to get there. There'll be a short introduction with a story or two about how other people have used the meditation, and on the following module, then will come the meditation. But first, following this module, a description of the 4 levels of meditation.